to Jimmy. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Letitia, very much. Our next speaker is Professor Was, aka Professor Wang Jian, the renowned sinologist and the past president of VAHMS. After completing his BA, MA, and PhD degrees in Chinese and Japanese languages and literatures, Dr. Was began his academic career teaching Chinese language and the East Asian cultures at the University of British Columbia and University of Victoria. In addition to teaching, he founded and directed the Center for Pacific and Oriental Studies at Victoria. In September 1987, he joined the Simon Fraser University, where he founded and directed the David Lam Center for International Communication at SFU's Harbor Center campus. He was also the founding director of SFU's Asia Canada program, which is an interdisciplinary minor or intensive minor program for undergraduate students. Now I would like to invite Professor Jan Was to deliver his remarks.
Maybe he's...
Okay, hold on. Sorry, Professor Was, you're muted. You were muted. Yeah.
Unmute.
Yes,
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy, and thank you. Well, thanks everybody for taking part in this, I think, very interesting dialogue presentation that we're having. I've been a fan of operas and dramas in Asia ever since I started studying and majoring in Asian studies back in the 1960s as an undergraduate even. Partly because of the way most of them seem to integrate music, dialogue, dance, and interaction with the audience. That's something that you don't see very much. We don't see very much here on this side of the Pacific. But I find that very, very interesting, especially the interaction with the audience. Sometimes, as in Chinese operas, the person with the mask of a clown, that is a Xiao Hualian, a smaller painted face, will, as the plot unfolds, and this clown is witnessing it or is a part of it, very often the clown will turn away from the person that he's been looking at on the stage, look directly at the audience, and make comments to the audience. What do you think is going on here? Huh? Like that. So the interaction with the audience, the stylized movements. I think this is common throughout Asian operatic dramas. Is something that we don't see at all here in Western operas, as far as I'm aware. I don't know as much about Western opera as I do about Asian operas, but I find these comparisons and contrasts to be very, not just interesting, but sometimes even inspiring, because ultimately we end up with the same results, and that is a feeling of satisfaction at seeing representations of typically human, sometimes atypically, as with heroes, but very often with typically human in typically human events. It raised to a much higher level than we normally see in our everyday, day-to-day lives. So I've been interested in everything, especially in Asia, everything from kabuki and no dramas in Japan to the Peking opera, the Cantonese opera, which we see a lot more. We've seen a lot more here, especially in Vancouver, ever since the late 19th century and the early 20th century, when the earlier Chinese immigrants to Canada, that is the railway workers mostly, and prior to them actually miners, people who worked in gold mining during the gold rush. These people were almost always Cantonese speakers, and eventually when enough of them were living in the greater Vancouver area, they put on Cantonese operas. This is early in the 20th century. They put on Cantonese operas. Very often they would invite a star performer to come from Hong Kong, or sometimes Seattle would have invited, people in Seattle would have invited, or San Francisco would have invited famous Cantonese opera performers, and they would invite them to come up from San Francisco or Seattle to perform. And that has remained a huge item of attraction here in Vancouver to this very day. The Cantonese opera, for example, a scheduled performance, and you'll see big haibao, big posters inviting or announcing the forthcoming performance of a certain, there's a whole variety, hundreds and hundreds of well-known themes in the Cantonese opera. In a restaurant, in a Chinese restaurant, everybody sees those coming in or leaving the Chinese restaurant, and they will fill the they will fill the theater, a large theater, the Michael J. Fox Theater in South Burnaby. I've seen it filled with people who will buy tickets to see a good Cantonese opera. So Asian operas are very much an important part of Vancouver, especially Vancouver's history, and even contemporary Vancouver. So this is an important topic, and I'm glad to see that, that we're going to have some time spent on this topic, on the broader topic of Asian and Western operatic performances. Thank you very much for letting me be a part of the opening of this. And I look forward to what's coming up.
Thank you very much, Professor. And we also, this is today's agenda, and we have 4 panel speakers, and we have Qiang singer Miss Zhao Yan, and Yue opera singer Fan Wenyu, and then we have Japanese theater performer and the Yayoi Hirano, and then we have Zai Lulu, and she's a designer. And on your right-hand side, we would like to thank Museum of Anthropology, UBC, to allow us to use those photos on this slide for today's event. Thank you very much.
I'm so glad to see Zhao Yan's name there.
Yes.
She and I have appeared on stage together, doing a short piece, a musical piece. I still remember that. I'm looking forward to this. Thank you.
Thank you. So now I would like to introduce Qiang first. So Qiang is the representative folk Chinese opera of the northwest province of Shanxi, China, where the Terracotta Army is located and where it was called Qing 2,000 years ago. So the genre uses banzi. Banzi basically means wood block. So like this, but not, it's a wood block. So something like this, that's just for demonstration purpose. And as one of the company instruments for which it derives its another name, VAHMS opera. VAHMS tune is the oldest, most affluent opera tune in China's four great characteristic melodies, which are Qing, Pihuang, Kun, Yiyang. So Qiang is the representative of the VAHMS opera and the most important origin of other VAHMS operas. So our very first speaker is Miss Zhao Yan, and who is an established performer and Chinese opera singer before she immigrated to Canada and Vancouver in 2000, the year 2000. So in the past 20 years, Zhao Yan's experience of pursuing Qingqiang far away from her homeland reveals the fact that music is not necessarily a universal language but universal phenomenon. This shows that music isn't always universally understood due to a lack of a complete interpretation of stories' social context. Now, however, through gradually connecting with an appreciative audience that are enthusiastic about Qingqiang in Vancouver, Miss Zhao Yan has managed to continue performing Qingqiang in Vancouver, in BC, which she loves immensely. So let's enjoy a short Qingqiang performance by Miss Zhao Yan now. ，So this is the piece is called "The Native of Shanxi Han City" and performed by Zhao Yan. So is Miss Zhao Yan there?
Hello, I'm here.
Okay. Yes. Sorry. Now I can see you. And yes. So Ms. Zhao Yan, would you please let us know, maybe introduce to us, so what is this particular story like native Shanxi Han City? What is it? What is the story about?
Oh, this is story about is two twin brothers. When the dad take the oldest brother come back to their city, then this uncle don't want to him to get all of this family property. Then another twin brother called Yu Chun. Then when he was a baby, then mom gave it away. So it's the adopted son for another family. When they grew up older, then the Yu Chun, the stepmom wanted this married to her daughter. But for the neighbors say that, oh, that's not right. You are the boy and the sister must be the real sisters. How come you can marry together? This whole story of talking about like this. Then they take this the sisters and brother to the like a city, like all the time, like a court. Then the city, like the mayor, the name called Believe Book. This guy just think everything from the book is right. So they said, okay, this boy and the sister is not a blood family. Okay, I can drop their blood from the water, then try it. If the water connect together, that means they're blood sister, like that. So, but this city mayor forgot is the summertime. Then another story is about another brothers. Another brother come to their hometown, that the auntie don't want him coming, take the family property. So they come into the court too. Then the, what's it called? Okay, the city mayor, just like same guy said, okay, if you are the real father and son, then I can drop your blood too. If your blood connect together, that means you are real. If not, you are not a real father and son. So, but that time is the winter time. So when the blood drop in the water, of course, they not connect together. So that's make so many mistakes about this one. So I just think the song is about Yu Chun, because they said you cannot marry to your sister, right? So the whole song I talk about is how can I work hard to find my sister. That's the story about it.
And so, right, so this is actually came from the 3 drops of blood. So they actually tested the blood for 3 times, and in order to find it's a very interesting story about a morality, a play based on the story of the testing, the paternity testing with blood. And it's a very interesting story. So Ms. Zhao Yin, would you please maybe explain or introduce to us, like what is Qiang, and what's the characteristic like of Qiang, and are there different schools of Qiang, and how can we tell from Qiang from other like even within like China, so the different other Chinese operas?
Oh, well, Qiang is the oldest opera in China. They started like a Zhou dynasty, right now almost like a 5,000 years history. They are from the use the bonds, they make the step, then usually like perform at like a king's palace. In the Tang dynasty, there's a king is really like this Qing opera. Then he started called Li Yuan, just like a first Chinese Qing opera school in the Tang dynasty. That's called, that's why after that, all of us opera, Chinese opera, they call their Li Yuan Zi Di. So in the movie, I think like Life, the movie called Life or something, they have to use this like, you know, in old China, they have lots of wars, right? Fighting this country, another country. Then people make use the, what's it called?
It's an instrument,
donkey,
right?
Yeah, donkey skin, they carve, make the little like a peeing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why in the Tang dynasty, the king played the peeing inside of their parliament.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and I'll ask the question to maybe compare the regular Qingqiang tune and all the style, and with the Wan Wan's tune.
Wan Qiang. Okay.
So let's play this video clip first, so people can compare the previous. Both are Qingqiang, but the previous one was played in a like a standard of the style, a school of Qiang, and this is a different one called Wan. This is a video clip from the movie To Live, and it's about shadow play, and actually that's also Qiang, partly originate from the shadow play. 1 second.
我许一缸，农活怕了小雪酒，下雪酒象牙床上，咿呀呀，哎呀呀，人也有呀。
Just this is a short clip, basically to show. Of course, the player is not a professional one, an amateur one. It's only in a movie and to live, and so I select that piece and to show the original of Qiang and its association with shadow play. So Wanwan was produced in Tang Dynasty, and an overall embodiment of the delicate and the pleasant and the lingering pretty features. Its absorption, and it's called the art of the old cavity, Lao Qiang, in the performance of the entire shadow play in the process. Not only unique and the elegant music, there are also lyrical, beautiful, touching singing, and so the singing form in many shadow plays in a unique style. So this is called the bow or wan style. The bow can be delicate features to control a variety of repertoire and colleagues through the so the singing and the grand scene. So Ms. Zhao Yan, and so can you maybe demonstrate? So actually, what is the difference between the traditional Qingqiang and also the Wanwan?
Okay, my daughter is Lisa. She is the
Hi, Lisa.
professional.
Hello.
Yeah, Qing opera singer too. Right now, let her show us about it as Wan Qiang. Okay.
Okay, so we have a live performance. That's great. So thank you.
Yeah, that's Wan Qiang.
Okay, just a little piece.
Yes.
Okay, Wan Qiang is a little different than this Qing opera, because Qing opera I just sang is really like strong and more like tough. This Wan Qiang is more soft, you know, like some like Shanghai opera, like a Hu opera, you know.
Yes.
Yes, really, really soft, like a 天上掉下个林妹妹. You know, it's totally different than this Qing opera, and the Wanwan opera is more soft. Yeah.
But I find the Wanwan actually tune has the melody. Actually, it's just purely from a comparison viewpoint. I find it maybe it's more. It's actually sounds better for some reason. It's very attractive, like the tune, and so I find the Wanwan Chuan quite attractive, actually.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so very interesting. Thank you. And also, is that Michelle or Lisa, right?
Yes,
daughter?
Lisa.
Lisa. Thank you, Lisa, very much. And so we'll get back and with maybe a bit more questions. And so, given the association with this the shadow play, and here just shortly, I want to introduce our during the Asian Heritage Month, and we have an interactive web performance of Fire Horse and the Shadow, which is directly linked to the shadow play. So just it's only less than a minute.
Sounds of laughter, shades of earth are ringing through my open views, inciting and inviting me. Limitless, undying love, which shines around me like a million suns, it calls me on and on across a universe. Jagaru Deva.
So So this is a piece that explores family lineage with a focus on the dualistic yin and yang elements expressed within the bodies, lives, and choices of three generations of women, working against and alongside the hearsay of family stories and Chinese medicine circles and charts of zodiac animal signs. So two performers were they weave together passages of remembering and forgetting. So inviting the audience into an intimate reanimation of family memory. And this performance you can register online to watch the performance throughout this month, the month of May. So let's move on to the Yue opera. So originating in Shaoxing, and the Zhejiang province, which is around 200 kilometers south to Shanghai in 1906. This is the Yue opera originated. And Yue opera features actresses in place of actors. So actresses instead of actors in many roles, as well as femininity in terms of singing, performing, and staging. Despite its rural origin, it has found a second home in Shanghai, so China's most affluent city, where it managed to outcompete both Peking opera and the native Shanghai opera. Like its performers, Yue opera fans are mainly women, resulting in a disproportionate number of love stories in its repertoire and a very little acrobatic fighting. And our speaker is Miss Fan Wenyu, a Yue opera enthusiast and a singer who endorses Yin School of Singing. And in recent years, she has often participated in a number of Yue opera performances in Vancouver. And here is let us enjoy a short Yue opera performance by Miss Fan Wenyu.
小径只为你，此花是牛泪红妆，天涯海角天心芳。我已萍水得相逢，你恰在深闺思念东望，你看这满园的花尽芬芳，分点偏偏无人赏，小姐呀，似水流年徐徐度，莫问了这醉人春色大好参观，大好参观
So this is a recent actually production in 2020, then Peony Pavilion. And Miss Fan, would you please maybe tell us what is the Peony Pavilion?
Yeah, the Peony Pavilion is a romantic tragicomedy play written by Tang Xianzu in 1598. The story follows the love between Du Liniang and Liu Mengmei, who overcome many difficulties traversing through time and space, life and death before uniting. It was originally written for Kunqu opera. The story takes place in the later southern Song dynasty. One spring day, Du Liniang takes a walk in the garden. Then she falls asleep and dreams of a young scholar who is later revealed to be Liu Mengmei. Then the two fall for each other and engage in a courtship. A petal dropping on Li Niang wakes her up, but she cannot stop thinking about the love affair and eventually dies from the love sickness. The underworld president then judges that the marriage between Li Niang and Meng Mei is predestined, and Li Niang must return to the earthly world. Then Li Niang appears to Meng Mei in his dreams. Upon her request, he agrees to exhume her body and bring her back to life. He then visits his father Du Bao to let him know his daughter is alive again and that they are in a relationship. Du Bao throws Meng Mei in jail and for grave robbing and being an impost. But Meng Mei proved himself through the results of an imperial exam and avoids being tortured to death. He is shown to have great talent and value, and the emperor then pardons everyone and gives rewards to all. So this is about that story.
So usually this is it's a classic actually. And as you mentioned, it was played originally as Kunqu. It's one of
yes.
we mentioned the four major Chinese character like melodies, right? And so they are Qing, Pi Huang. Qing is Qing Qiang. Pi Huang means Peking opera, and then they have Kun, which is Kunqu. So this is a very classic one. So how long usually this whole play is, if it's a full size kind of play?
Through that, so the summary may seem brief.
Okay.
But actually, the Peony Pavilion is actually a very long story. The play has 55 scenes, which can run for a total of 22 hours.
Okay, so if you
usually most stage performance will pick the key events of the story, resulting in a more standard 2 or 3 hour play. But a few years ago, however, one Kunqu group did do a performance that lasted 9 hours.
Wow.
They didn't do it in one day, spread out over 3 days, like every day 3 hours, on the stage. Yeah.
Wow. And also when I introduced you and you said you endorsed the Ying school of singing, and so can you tell us what are the maybe other different schools in the Yue opera, and what is the Ying school?
There are 13 different vocal styles of Yue opera, so including the Shen Rose or Ying Pai, Dan Rose or Wang Pai, as well as Lu Pai, Xu Pai, Fan Pai, and more. Each of these roles is unique sounding in its own way. Shen Rose or Ying Pai, which I play, are usually more soft and mellow sounding with smooth ups and downs. The sound should be very full, round, even, and sweet. Yeah.
I muted myself. So what? But that's a little bit abstract. So in terms of Ying Pai, is there a way to do a very short, maybe comparison, the same piece, but maybe can be you can sing in the two different styles, then the audience can tell immediately the difference.
You mean, Ying Pai is a more soft, more around. Like Xu Pai, also it's a Shen Rou, it's a more high, like if like for example, Yin Pai singer Lin Mei Mei it's more soft, more slow. But if it's Xu Pai, it's more high. It's like 想当初 it's more high.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah,
tell the
yeah,
difference. It's a higher
yeah,
kind of a pitch.
yeah, it's a higher, it's a different, it's a they have their own styles. They
Okay.
have their own styles, yeah.
So in compared to Peking opera, what are the and this Yue opera is very special because it has, as I introduced, the actress instead of actors, so female performers playing the male roles. And so, what are the characteristics of the Yue opera, including its costume styles?
As opposite to Beijing opera, Yue opera tends to be dominated by women, both in the terms of its fans and the performers. In recent years, some younger men, they are having joined in as well, but it's an opera that has a very strong female history. So as such, the costumes are usually more fluid and feminine. But apart from this, it's I do not think there is a particular way of telling costumes from a different regional operas apart.
Right.
Save for knowing the stories well as and reorganizing the costumes that belong to them.
I see.
Yeah.
And then you actually join there is a Yue Opera Association in Vancouver. So what community activities does that Vancouver Yue Opera Association actually participate in? Can you tell us some of like recent activities? If I mean not during the pandemics, but maybe before the pandemics, what are the community activities like do the Vancouver does the Vancouver Asian Yue Opera Association can engage and participate in?
You know, in Vancouver, there is a few group or you know, or we are having that an annual Chinese opera festival and many other smaller theater events and groups who are dedicated towards Chinese opera. Like our group, we practice those classical Yue opera, and sometimes we're doing the show,
Okay.
to the public,
Communities and the public.
communities and the small.
So
theater,
how can people actually find your association then?
Yeah, if you are interested, you can just call our leader Mary Xu at 778-885-0937 for more information. If you are interested, you are more than welcome to join us. Yeah.
Okay, so it is called Vancouver Yue Opera Association, right? So people, if they Google, they may be able to find it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wenyu. So let's now we'll move on to the theaters of Japan. And there is an interesting evidence. I'm quoting from today's speaker, the Hirano's Sensei. And then there's interesting evidence of cultural exchange between Japan and China, Korea, and India. After those years, and all kinds of dance and theater styles appeared. So the most famous dance style is the Sarugaku. And around 1300 and 1400, so no theater started strongly. And one of the most famous known theater actors, Karami and Zeami, and established the style and also supported by the shogun. So the success of the Sarugaku and then the shogun patronage lifted the art form permanently out of the midst of its plebeian past. From then, the term Sarugaku gave way to the current, the nomenclature and the it's the one of the styles. So, and our this is today's Yayoi Hirano, and born and raised in Japan. Let me introduce the speaker. Yayoi has lived in Vancouver since 2002. She is a graduate of the Toho Gakuen College of Drama, and in 1975 co-founded the mime theater, the Qiang, to popularize pantomime in Japan through modern works. So over the past 50 years, she has continued her study of Japanese dance and movements such as kagura and the no, kyojin, and kabuki dance, as well as Western dance, both classic ballet and modern dance. Her mime study has been in both the Deku and the Lecoq system, and very early in her career, she has had a passion for teaching mime dance and the movement. In 1990, she founded the Yayoi Theater Movement Society. Her international performance, including the festival appearance in Germany, Slovakia, and the 7 other European countries, and the numerous Asian tours, as well as 5 North American tours. And let us enjoy a short theater performance by Miss Yayoi now. It's called Sumida River.
Somebody told me you must be in Tokyo. I'm going to Tokyo to find you. Wait for me, my son. I will follow the Sumida River to reach you.
Okay, so what is the Hirano-san said, what is this play Sumida River about? And based on our before this presentation, our conversation, so it's a combination of nome and a mime, and also it involves music, and you add body expression into the play. So can you tell us more about the Sumida River?
Okay. Well, Sumida River written by Kanze sensei years ago, like 1400. Anyway, the story, because this woman who lost her son being kidnapped. So she was living in Kyoto area, and she was looking for him, and she walked and whatever she done, and then went to Tokyo to find where he is. And it's like a 540 kilometers at that time. Like, can you imagine, like at that era, for 540 kilometers from Kyoto to Tokyo to find him. anyway, so she finally arrived in Sumida River, which is big river in Tokyo. And she wanted to, still looking for him. And somebody said, well, we know that there's child who been kidnapped and she died. So there is a grave. And it sounds like her son. So she didn't believe at that time, but eventually she went there. And that was her son's grave. So she was so sad.
Oh.
So that's the story.
Okay, and so I noticed like your performances in the Sumida River, and then in actually that particular one, and also other performances involved with a variety of like masks, face masks, right? And would it be possible for you to tell us more about masks? And I'm very, because also on the slide you can tell there's so many masks, and for audience, for today's participants, these are face masks actually carved by the Hirano sensei. So can you tell us something about masks?
Okay, so this is a mask I used for the Sumida River, but this is my maybe fifth or something. Anyway, so the first one I carved is this mask, Uzume mask. And the mask is really interesting because when you wear and then you look up and down, so when you add something and maybe you can feel
The difference.
body expression, and the face mask doesn't change at all, of course, but the impression changes just up and down.
Right.
So can you see?
Yes, absolutely. So that's,
yeah. So this is a really interesting concept of the no theater mask. This is very much inspired from no theater mask. And this is another one which I carved. This is a kind of a comical, but we say buffoon. I say buffoon.
Yeah.
And it's quite comical. Originally, this might be very much influenced from a Korean mask.
Okay, yeah.
And really interested in. And there are another one over there.
Yes.
I have so many.
Yeah. There's so many masks.
And I'm going to show you one of the masks. This mask is red face, and I made for the Uzume performance. And this has a red face, and this is one of the god.
Okay.
And but why this is red face? This is a legend from the legend, and this Uzume eventually married with him.
Oh, okay.
And he is foreigner. That's why red face, not white face.
Right.
So for the Japanese, foreigner is a red face.
Oh.
It's funny, eh?
Yeah.
Because Hakujin, white people, but we make kind of white. And this is Hakujin.
Okay.
White people, but red.
Okay.
Anyway, so I have, I always based on the kind of a Japanese story and then mixed everything.
Right.
And for example, this was Sumida River, I did her sons when he was young, how she enjoyed his life, with him to pray and stuff like that. And then eventually they are doing a hide and seek.
Yes.
And then suddenly he been kidnapped. She can't find anywhere. So those kind of a story, which is more like you can understand, right?
Yes.
So then gradually goes to no theater play with no chant and dance, and all kinds of another Japanese tradition like flying dragonfly or something like that. Yeah,
And
so
also,
that's what.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in the Sumida River, I also heard the English, like
Yes.
Lyrics, right? And also the chanting there. So, and then also you, in other performance, you actually perform it with cello and also piano playing. So how do you actually, and I understand like these face masks you, in your performance, these originated from Nome. Right, Nome Theater, the very traditional one, but you use them and then set them as the basic emotion, and use your add upon that with your body expressions, right, to enrich the performance. So how do you engage audience like in North America? So it seems like you have made successful experiments by integrating English language, integrating the Western musical instruments.
Yes, well, because I studied, I mean, both cultures. I mean, like I studied Jacques Lecoq mime, and I studied another things in Germany or whatever. So, and then I want to give the expression or feeling. It's not only Japanese. It's not necessary Japanese people. Only Japanese people are to understand. But I want to let everybody to understand. So I was trying all kinds of possibilities and always to adapt not only Japanese story, but because people are same. Basically, people eat, people drink, people cry, people laugh, it's same. So whatever, I want to let people know that the kind of a feeling, and so that's what I'm trying to. Sorry, I can't.
No. Yeah, it's very clear. And so, what future projects are you working on?
Now I'm working on the one of the theater play written by Eliot. Wait a minute. Yes, and it's at the Hawk's Tail, and this is Hawk's Well, which is actually he himself had a really big influence of Japanese no theater. So that's why he wrote based on no theater play, his own theater play. And what I'm doing is to adapt and myself, how I feel and what I really want to try to express or tell to the people what is this means. So because it's so philosophical theme, so I'm trying to let everybody understand what is that mean, what I want to express. And I'm trying to work with my few masks, like this mask and the other mask, young man's mask and old man's mask, and how I can tell the story about.
So this is
that's what I'm trying.
So
this is actually, yeah, this is actually for the why I'm doing is because one of the mask festival in Italy. I might be going next year. So they want me to work with masks. So that's what I'm trying.
Thank you. So, this is a non-Japanese and who wrote the Japanese known play, right? And so you are actually perform and using gnome and maybe a pantomime and other integrate all of them into together in the future.
Yes.
So, and we wish you very success, and we also look forward to maybe one day see it, in Vancouver. So thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so now we have Lulu. And so Vancouver-based photographer Lulu Zai has been honing her skills in photography for the last several years. Originally a graphic designer, she added video animation to her skills, becoming a VJ doing live video for music performances. Lulu blended her photography skills with her 24 years of animation and a graphics experience, bringing about a perfect union of her two passions. She loves to combine music and visual rhythm and using pictures to describe music and emotions. And so Lulu, I understand you had a successful, there are two events. It's called Masked Intentions and also Zen Leave shows, one at Sun Yat-sen, Dr. Sun Yat-sen's gallery in Vancouver, Canada, and the other one, the Red Moon Art Gallery in Melbourne, Australia, and respectively. So would you please tell us more about particularly the masked intentions? Why picking opera mask, and how do you use masks into how to integrate the masks into your designs, as we saw Miss Hirano, and so she actually has these very interesting Japanese known masks, and and also I did my research before this presentation that even the Chinese masks actually originated from these real face painting actually originated from face masks. So interestingly, would you please maybe let us know more about this masked intentions and the story behind it?
Hi. So I'm so appreciative about having me and with all the professional artists together. So I did my exhibition a few years ago. So the name is Revolution of the Face Painting. So, and yeah, I was involved in a project. That time I'm involved in a project about freedom. I feel that to understand freedom, we also need to understand the constraints or restriction, as if we learn modernity through studying traditions. So traditional Peking opera artists, just a normal, always all male and all along the time. It's the performance becomes highline standardized, including its costume and face painting or singing styles. So the highline normalized or standardized face painting pattern originated from face mask, but the face painting does not illustrate all the personalities of a particular rule. Independence of the rule's personality and its just need to be certifications need to be development through the performance in the development of the plot. Instead, the face painting only shows the nature of the rules personality through the color and the pattern of the facial makeup. So I just get some information just like culture different. We have the color, the understanding different of the color language. For example, red, normal, right now we think about red is love, passion, and the deserve, maybe heat and coverage or stress something. But in old traditional China, the red is loyalty, so integrity and enthusiasm. So same like that. So for black is more, so right now we understanding black maybe power, maybe evil, maybe darkness, night. So we just think about like this kind of meaning. So but in old China, so we think about that is boldness or uprightness. So that's the reason all the face masks, they have meaning in there. To compare with the color, everything, they just write all the character and the personality on the face, and they perform and wear this mask and compare together. This part of the opera, Peking opera culture history and civilization. So for example, just like in the picture, they have called the same like brick red butterfly face mask. So this mask comes from the opera name is the Check of the Beast. The check out the story is about the Ming Dynasty. So around the 676 to the BC at that time. It was official service, Duke Qiang of the state of Jing. The story about the queen of the Jing. So, and she wanted her son to inherit the dukedom. So she used the check of the beast, win the king's trust. So actually this story talk about the the actor wear this mask. He killed the queen and the princess. So, but that story talk about he is a hero. But because the queen want to control the power. So, but I basically use this mask because the background story. So to me, female means more perseverance and the love. So when the face mask, face painting was used to symbolize man, it is actually woman, perseverance and love that
doesn't work.
That nurture culture. So I hope to use my work to express the internal love through a visual interpretation of music stories. Just like I used this very upset the image I put together. But all the tradition we use the story meant for everything. So and then very straight away they choose the story and the stress everything. So right now I use modern arts, just a woman and perform the music and to choose like a freedom. So I think because of love, we now have civilization. We find the freedom through reaching out to understanding of ourselves. I would like to highlight the beautiful of woman and transcending the contrast of genders. Yeah, so that's reason that time I do the project freedom. Freedom is a buzzword in today society, a word that ignites both strong feeling and strong conversations. Ask any two individual on the street their personal definition of freedom, and you will most likely hear about different interpretation. It is a concept with the universal, yet still deeply personal. Hence, my work breaks through the constructs of tradition and attempts to give my own explanatory notes to freedom and love and beauty. So that's the idea I do this art.
So you're talking about on the slide. So there is a butterfly on the face. So this is the Duke of Jing, right? Duke.
Yes.
Okay.
Then most of the time, the opera face, they have the story shows on the face, the character,
okay.
the personal, and the color also shows their personality. And then to compare with the face mask and the story, so every opera face, the face is different. So come with the story together.
Okay, so interesting because before when I originally saw the picture, I didn't realize there is a because I didn't see the face mask because face mask is the background, right? So I saw your design which has the background as using the face mask as a no face painting as the background. So I didn't realize it's actually a butterfly. Now I can tell. So from the original Peking operas, this face painting from the story of the Trick of Bees, which is a butterfly, and on the Duke Shen's face, but you use it basically as a background and talking about breaking through, right? And
Yeah.
from the masculine society.
Yeah, so because my exhibition means masculine intention, the mask let me just know what kind of things is too new the woman have to do. So break the old traditional and choose like a new modern style. And yes, the same like music and art shows like a beauty. So I think that's my idea to do this show.
Thank you very much, Lulu. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing with us the story behind the mass intentions and your design and actually integrating face painting from the traditional Chinese opera into your modern design. And so in December 2001, the Senate of Canada adopted a motion proposed by Senator Vivian Poy to officially designate May as Asian Heritage Month in Canada. So in May 2002, the government of Canada signed an official declaration to designate May as Asian Heritage Month. So now this actually concludes our panel presentation, and let's give a round of virtual applause to our four speakers. So thank you very much, Ms. Zhao and Ms. Fan and Ms. Hirano and Ms. Zai and Dr. Waz and Ms. Sanchez, so Letitia. So special thanks to Museum of Anthropology UBC. So in the following